I got a quick read for game time today here, guys. If you want to go to the preseason game, if you're out there in Seattle, there's no better place to go get your tickets than Game Time. You can save up to 60% off by buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, and theater. They're all in pricing. You toggle this on, and then you just get no surprise fees at checkout. Gives you the exact price right up front. You can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy it. Game Time will give you 110% of your credit if you find a lower price ticket. So all you have to do is download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, just create your account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Guys, we don't want to waste time talking about, some of the back end guys that are fighting for spots that are like not names. But who are some players that we know, like names that we've talked about, that could possibly not make this roster, if you think there are any? Could be a surprise cut that you think maybe needs to do something in this final preseason game.
I keep thinking, for some odd reason, I keep going back to the secondary because of the Denzel thing. Mm-hmm. I think that last year the Browns carried 5 safeties, and that's very unlikely. Usually people do 4 safeties, 6 corners. I think they did 5 and 5 last year.
Yep.
So you got to get a number of 10. With the Denzel thing happening, with the Genu thing happening, I'm scared for one of them safeties. Now, I know Ronnie Hickman got hit up in the first game, and then he's been out with injury. And I think D'Anthony Bell has not played in the preseason. And I don't know if Rodney McLeod has played, but I don't think they would cut him because this is his last go-around. I don't think they would cut him. So the 2 that I'm looking at is Hickman and D'Anthony Bell.
You think one of them's going to get cut?
Because think about it. If Denzel is hurt, and Newsome, even with Denzel, you got to keep another corner. So to me, you got those 3. You got Khalif Halassi, who they really like. Cam Mitchell, that's 5. And then maybe the Miles Harden,
who's been awesome,
who's been good. Yeah. So, that's 6.
Right.
So, if you telling me you can go with just 5, so say you don't keep 6, you keep 5 and 5. So, if Denzel goes down,
5 with 2 guys banged up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, you got to make up somewhere with that room, and I think it could potentially be a safety.
I mean, I guess for a week or 2, they could consider keeping 11 DBs and have 1 less linebacker, maybe.
That's a possibility too.
They play 2 linebackers a lot, so
that's a possibility.
You could. A lot of times teams have 6 linebackers. I guess they could go with 5.
I think they kept 5 last year.
Oh, could you go with 4 linebackers?
Well, you'd have Hicks, JOK, Devin Bush, Diabate, and Tony Fields are the 5. You would expect right now if you were making the early roster.
And the scariest part about the corner room is has anybody really stuck out to you in a game?
No.
So even if it might not even be that they keep them. They might, once people get cut, they might look on the waiver wire and look for somebody. So that, to me, that secondary thing, it scares me.
All reports out of camp, though, indicate that Miles Harden, the 7th round draft pick from this season, has turned heads.
Yeah.
Like a guy that they didn't necessarily expect. Obviously, they liked him enough to draft him, but not a guy they thought would come in and compete with some of the names Tyvis just mentioned for a legitimate roster spot. And he certainly put himself in contention to be a conversation piece when the Browns have to go down and cut from their 90-man to their 53-man roster. Few other spots I think it's worth watching tonight. Siaki Ika, and whether or not he can do anything from the interior of the defensive line. Just like the cornerback room, to Tyvis's point, that defensive line room is loaded right now. And if Ika, who was their 2nd pick in last year's draft, is going to have any chance of finding his way onto their Week 1 53-man roster, he's going to have to play significantly better against Seattle than he's shown on tape against Green Bay.
I don't think he's going to make
Minnesota.
the roster. Do you think Ika's going to make it?
Not a chance.
No, we talked about it earlier in the week. I don't think he is. And then the other position I'm really looking forward to watching tonight is that last wide receiver spot bowl.
Yeah.
Michael Woods and David Bell are in a competition right now for that last spot.
Well, that's I think there's some interesting decisions at wide receiver and at running back if Nick Chubb is on the active roster in Week 1. What's the matter?
Mike can't
I said it tonight.
Tomorrow.
Now you got it.
Now
in my
you
head.
said tonight.
I am so sorry.
Tomorrow.
So let me bring up. So Zach Jackson, who obviously covers the Browns for The Athletic, he did his 53-man roster projection He put it out earlier this week. So let's go through this quickly, see what he did. Remember, cutdown day is Tuesday. It's right around the corner.
Yep.
You're gonna. These rosters are going from 90 to 53. It used to be.
75.
Remember, you'd have the 75 and then 53. Obviously,
that's it. Once I made it to 75, I was like, "Woo! I'm halfway there.
Yeah, right.
Halfway there."
All right. So some of the positions we'll go through quickly. Some we'll spend a little more time on. Quarterback, he's predicting Deshaun, Jameis, and DTR, and he thinks Tyler Huntley's gone. All right. Running back, Zach says best guess: Jerome Ford, Pierre Strong, and Deonta Foreman. I believe Nyheim Hines will make the active roster if he's healthy, but for now he remains on the non-football injury list. My early guess is Nick Chubb starts the season on the PUP list, which means he wouldn't be part of the initial 53 and would miss at least 4 games.
And that's noteworthy because if he's not on the active roster, that gives another spot for a receiver or a cornerback, like Tyvus mentioned.
Well, he thinks they're going to keep 4 running backs because he thinks Nyheim Hines, Ford, Foreman, and Strong. You usually don't keep more than 4 running backs. It's just the more interesting thing is when Chubb comes back, if everybody's healthy,
who's gone?
Do they get rid of Pierre Strong or do they get rid of Nyheim Hines?
Well, Strong got hurt yesterday, so we'll see what.
Right, that's true.
But he's an asset on special teams.
He has been. Last year he was hurt, so I don't know. All right, wide receiver. How many will make the roster? Zach says probably 5. Not 6. Teams a lot of times keep 6. Some teams even keep 7.
Yeah.
5 is on the lower end. His best guess, he says, Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, Elijah Moore, and a player not currently on the roster.
So he doesn't have
Zach's projection.
He doesn't have Jamari Thrash on there either.
He does. He said it's likely David Bell versus Michael Woods for the last spot, barring an injury or trade. But Bell is dealing with a quad injury that will sideline him for the rest of the preseason. I'm guessing rookie Jamari Thrash will start on the practice squad. Thrash was what, a 5th-round pick?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Has he shown what has he shown you in these first couple of games?
I mean, he's been good, but it's not like something that's like, oh my goodness, we gotta have that guy.
I mean, they could keep him on the practice
Yeah,
squad. I'm
I
not
think-
sure if
yeah.
somebody's claiming him.
I
on
agree.
a 53.
I agree.
He also said players such as Matt Landers, Jaleon Darden, also practice squad candidates. Darden and James Prochet in the mix for return jobs. But that's interesting that he thinks it doesn't mean he's going to be right. He's just projecting, but he thinks it's a player not currently on the roster that gets the 5th spot over David Bell and Michael Woods. I mean, David Bell and Michael Woods, neither. I don't care if either of those guys are on the team. Do you?
I would like to hope Bell still has a chance to be a competent receiver, but
I don't think he does.
my level of confidence is waning quickly by the day.
Do you think he has a chance to be a competent receiver?
I think he's a good possession receiver.
Okay.
I think he's a guy that comes in every now and again and can make a catch in traffic. About it though.
Right.
He's just a guy, though. Just a guy.
Yeah. He has Njoku, Jordan Akins, and Giovanni Ricci as the tight end.
They just
Well,
cut
they
him.
cut Ricci.
Who's like a full. Oh, they did cut him.
because he hurt IR, yeah.
Oh, that's right. He got hurt. That's right. I forgot about that. Okay.
So that could be
So
another
they may
spot.
pick they may only keep 2 tight ends, even though. But Stefanski loves using those tight ends.
Me too.
Do they pick up? I mean, if it's a 3rd tight end, they don't have anybody else of note here. It would probably be somebody from outside.
Why would they need a 3rd tight end? Do you think? Because
I mean,
Stefanski just likes tight ends.
Fullback Nick Harris is back. So,
Well, I mean, he's an offensive lineman.
but they put him at fullback.
You're right, but he's always had at least 3 tight ends on the roster. Always. Doesn't mean he will. All right. Let's see. Offensive line, he says somewhere between 8 and 10, depending on whether Jack Conklin starts on the active roster. He's projecting Jedrick Wills is ready to go week 1. Batonio, Pocic, Teller, DeJuan Jones, Zach Zinter, Nick Harris, James Hudson, and Michael Dunn. Said it might come down to Hudson versus Jermaine Ifedi for the final tackle spot.
Real quick on that, we talk about players to watch in tomorrow's game. Fetty is starting at left tackle.
Right.
He has
he
not
may be playing for his job.
He has not played a ton of left tackle in his career. Going up against the ones in Seattle, he played in Seattle.
Drafted him first.
That is, pick. I mean that essentially is an audition for your job right there. It's him versus Hudson for that last swing tackle spot. If Fetty plays well on Saturday against Seattle, Hudson had not played well in camp at that position.
Right.
Come on,
Could go
Fetty.
a long way
Yeah.
towards swaying the Browns' decision.
That's true.
Come on, Fetty.
I believe. Oh, you played with him in Seattle, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he a first-round pick?
Yes, he was.
A&M did.
Come on, Fetty. I'm rooting for you. Please do good. Just do good.
On the defensive side, Zach's projecting 10 defensive linemen: Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, Dalvin Tomlinson, Ogbo Okoronkwo, Shelby Harris, Quentin Jefferson, Alex Wright, Mike Hall Jr., Maurice Hurst, and Isaiah McGuire. So Siaki Ika wouldn't make the cut. Jawan Briggs wouldn't make the cut.
That's 5 of each, by the way. Defensive
Yeah.
ends,
Them practice
defensive tackles.
squads.
Yeah, yeah.
They'll both. I personally think both of them will come back on practice squad.
Yeah, I mean, who's breaking down the door to sign either of those guys?
Somebody argued. Was it Jason that argued with me about that?
Jason said he wouldn't be shocked if some team took a flyer on Ika
Yeah.
if he got cut and tried to slip back on practice squad.
okay.
I don't know about that.
And I said if I was Ika, I would want a team to take a flyer.
But yeah, that's true. 5 linebackers. He's projecting Jordan Hicks, JOK, Tony Fields, Devin Bush, and Nathaniel Watson.
Over-
Not Mohamed Diabate.
Interesting.
Defensive back.
Here we go.
Said that from 10 to 12, depending on health and special teams. Quarterback Greg Newsom's recovering from a hamstring surgery, and though it's a positive sign for Newsom's eventual availability that he's been seen jogging on the side of practice, he's not expected to take part in training camp, blah, blah, blah.
So he's definitely not playing tomorrow against Seattle.
Doesn't sound like it, no. My best guess, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, Martin Emerson, Grant Delpit, Juan Thornhill, Rodney McLeod, Cam Mitchell, Miles Harden, DeAnthony Bell, Ronnie Hickman, Khalif Falassi, and Justin Hardy Sr.
I forgot about Justin Hardy as the other Well,
I take that.
Hardy would make the Pierre Strong move if you had to cut one of them later, a little offset as both special teams
Right.
aces as gunners. That's a lot of defensive backs, though. I don't know.
How
where
many
that-
did you just name?
He named 12.
Yeah.
You named 12?
Yeah,
1,
I
2,
don't.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 12.
See, my only issue with is if they did try to move off of like a DeAnthony Bell, I would be upset because unless he's hurt, y'all didn't play him in the preseason, so you didn't give him a chance to even get tape out there. So that would bother me.
He could play.
Yeah.
The little spurts we've
defensive
seen.
back is their position where they're most likely to
Deepest.
cut somebody that could play
Yeah.
more than any other position, I would think.
I don't know where the numbers are evening out to fit 12 defensive backs on the roster, though.
Yeah.
That's
He only had 5 wide receivers, which is very low,
one.
and
How many linebackers was
He
it?
had 5.
5
which is-
linebackers.
How many tight ends was it?
He had 3 on his list.
3, yeah. I don't know.
He said 8 to 10 linemen, depending on where the guy starts. So
Right.
maybe that's
And he said
one.
10 to 12,
Yeah.
so maybe it's 11. Who knows? But obviously, we know who the special teams guys are.
That 53, boy.
So there you go.
This stuff used to make me nervous, boy. It used to keep me up at night.
There's some good players who are going to get cut.
Right.
The Browns roster, and
Goodness.
Andrew Berry's put together enough talent that
Yeah.
there's some guys who are going to get cut.
Who's besides the corners? Who's a good player that's going to get cut?
I mean, if one of the running backs, if it's
Yeah,
Pierce, I
all
mean,
right,
in
I'll give you
extent.
that. There's some nice,
It just
players,
I mean, not
yeah.
like guys that you're going to be.
but like
crushed
guys that are
with.
rosterable players.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
Yeah.
quarterbacks.
So a couple of things to watch. Put a bow tie on
Mm.
this tonight. If David Bell, who's not playing, which means Michael Woods is going to have a chance to
Yeah,
show something. Jermaine Ifedi at left tackle might be the most important thing we see in tomorrow
Yeah.
night's game. Not tonight, in tomorrow night's game.
yeah.
We'll see Miles Harden and Khalif
Halassi.
I definitely think there's some guys in the deep, depth of the secondary that are playing for jobs. Ifedi, as you mentioned, he's, if he plays well, he's making the team. If he doesn't, he's probably
Yep.
cut. I think David Bell's gone. Michael Woods, I don't think is going to make the team either.
Well, we'll see Jamari Thrash. He's playing tonight. Or
Right.
tomorrow.
I
And I
mean-
can't believe you got this in my head.
I'm so sorry. It's all my fault.
That's just embarrassing, you two.
Jamari,
It's
Jamari
embarrassing.
Thrash, someone else to watch.
Yeah.
And then the quarterback battle. We'll see DTR and Huntley duke it out for QB3.
Can we really call it a battle when it's for the third quarterback spot?
Don't throw that to Tyvus, who's fighting for every spot. It was
Well,
a battle,
he's
right?
not quarterback.
Was about it. I done went into some final preseason games like we're gonna make you the starter, and if you do well,
Yeah.
you good. And I play well and still get cut.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Did you, when you were at this point in the season, were you like going through the roster, counting who was going to get in?
Yes. Yeah,
Like, I'm better than this guy.
It's evident. I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of evident. But see, it's the difference between this preseason and when I played is that the fourth preseason game was just for like the people that's fighting for everything.
That's right.
That's when the starters all come out with sweatsuits
Right.
on, and you had to play defense and all the
Yeah.
special teams, and you was tired as heck.
And they would the cut to 75 was before the last game. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Right.
So it was even worse. It was even worse that you had to do literally everything.
Right.
And you knew the
and
20
you look to
guys.
the sideline, we can't help you.
Yeah.
We ain't helping you.
Yeah. And of course, if you have any nagging injuries or anything, you're not going to tell anybody.
You got to play through it.
You got to play through.
That's what happened to me in Dallas. In Dallas, I strained my quad the second week of preseason.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, my quad is messed up. And the trainer was like, well, the only way it's going to get better is if you rest.
Yeah.
And he was like, with your situation, you really can't rest. I
Yeah,
said, you're right about that.
That's a crazy spot to be in.
So I went out there.
Yeah.
I played through the second. I could tell it was affecting me. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
as fast as I used to be. So the fourth preseason game, I go out there, and I have been overcompensating so much for this quad that I actually ended up pulling my hamstring, which was a blessing in disguise, because if you get hurt, they can't release you until you're healthy. So what happened was,
Right.
man, this is a lesson. This was my fourth year in the NFL. And to get your pension, you got to play 3 years, and you got to play 3 games of the next season. So I was on the next season part. No. And I got hurt in the preseason, last preseason game. They was like, well, this is what we could do. We're going to cut you. We can put you back on IR. You can stay here in rehab, and you'll get a game check until you're healthy, or we can give you 4 game checks. If we give you 4 game checks, I said, does that count like towards my credited years?
Yeah.
He said, well, you only need 3, but we're going to give you 4. I said, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Give me them 4
They didn't have
checks.
to do that?
Nah. I mean, they didn't. What they could have did was they could have said, we can let you just rehab it once you healthy. So if I got healthy in 2 weeks, you out of there.
Yeah, right.
I said 4? So you gonna guarantee me I'm gonna get the pension?
Yeah.
Give me that.
That was
Give
pretty
me
cool.
that. I'm out.
That's really
So I
cool.
would say nothing negative about
And that was
Dallas.
Dallas, okay.
I'll say nothing negative about Dallas. They looked out for me to get my pension.
But you didn't rehab there.
No, I did. I actually did 1 week of rehab there, and then they offered me that after the first week, and then I was like, well, if y'all gonna give me that, then I'm gone. Because what it was after the first week of rehab, I felt like, I was like, man, I think I'm gonna be good like in a week or 2.
And what year was that?
This was 2019.
So Zeke was still good at football then.
Yeah, Zeke was holding out. So I didn't see Zeke
Oh,
the
he was
entire
holding out.
preseason because he was holding out.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got hurt and I left, boom, he signed the deal. And I was like, God, this
He's
dude.
just waiting for time.
This dude, he was out, and Amari Cooper was out. Like, he was dealing with some type of injury for the preseason, too.
All right.